Now, California is in the midst of a deadly wildfire season as fires rage into the northern part of the state. Now, according to the Washington Post, at least 17 people have died so far, and they're expecting more, as there are plenty of people that are still unaccounted for. 2,000 buildings have been destroyed, a lot of businesses, a lot of wineries, I guess. A lot of people are making a big deal about the wineries that employ about 50,000 people. So it's important to the economy. And of course, thousands of people are still being evacuated from different areas as the fires continue to regain some of their strength thanks to some of the high winds that are coming down. Now, they also mention that this is California's deadliest wildfire since 2003. Washington Post writes, the fast-moving flames have swept through densely populated neighborhoods over the past 2 days, causing residents to flee from homes in the middle of the night as smoke filled their rooms. There's a lot of personal stories about people having to jump through their window into their pool to avoid the flames. I mean, could you imagine? They also said that the high winds that whipped up 17 large fires had faded earlier Tuesday, and humidity increased, assisting an operation that has drawn resources from throughout the state and neighboring Nevada. But officials warned that the sharp northern wind, known as a Diablo, would return, and apparently it has. So, again, that makes it very, very difficult for firefighters who are doing their best to be able to stop the fires. Now, that wind, like I said, did return along with lower humidity, meaning that it is easier for these fires to continue to spread. The National Weather Service expected these red flag conditions, including gusts up to 40 miles an hour, and in some places, even hurricane-strength winds. I'm not kidding. Now, they're expecting these winds to remain until Thursday in the North Bay area, which includes the already hard-hit Sonoma and Napa counties. Now, so far, the total count of how many people had to be evacuated, 25,000 people or more have fled homes from 7 counties north of San Francisco. Of course, where do they go? They end up having to go to shelters. They end up leaving with nothing but the clothes on their back, maybe 1 or 2 possessions, an iPod or a phone or something. And look, officials acknowledge that it could be weeks before some are able to return. But then again, what are they going to return to? As a lot of neighborhoods have been completely decimated by this. Now, according to CAL FIRE Chief Ken Pimlott, during the afternoon news conference, these fires came down in the neighborhoods before anyone knew there was a fire in many cases. This is just pure devastation. It's going to take us a while to get out and comb through all of this. Exactly. Now, these fires just come on the heels of an incredibly destructive fire season, a wildfire season for California and much of the West, where more than 8 million acres have been burnt this year. So now that is, like I said, a complete disaster. Now, investigators are actually looking into what caused the fires. And that's an interesting question. So far, they're saying there's like a 95% chance that it was not a lightning strike, and that normally that amount of that 95% is actually 95% of all wildfires, I should say, are actually started by people inadvertently. So if you throw a cigarette butt out the window or something, most wildfires do not start by lightning strikes, but by people, and that's terrible. That's so you got to be really careful. I mean, you know that only you can prevent forest fires. Smokey the Bear, he was right all along. So, you know, if you're going to go out, you're going to go out camping, whatever, make sure, you know, if you have a campfire, that's put out all the way. Don't throw cigarette butts. I know a lot of people love to do that. That's ridiculous, and it's one of the reasons that I hate smoking. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to cause a wildfire, and who knows, that could end up burning down your house. So just be careful, okay? So, like I said, these wildfires, they're having a devastating effect in California. And to be clear, look, a lot of wildfires happen in California. It gets very hot. It gets very dry there. And it doesn't take much to get one of these goings. and you add in the Diablo wind, which already sounds terrible enough, and it's going to get worse. And of course, what made these fires more destructive than normal wildfires that seem to happen every year is where they actually ended up going this time. They ended up right in the heart of wine country, and, you know, going into these neighborhoods and just absolutely destroying them. And I've looked at some of the video from some of these neighborhoods, and it looks like a war zone. You know, there's burnout cars, there's destroyed buildings. I mean, it reminded me of playing like Fallout. I mean, it was that bad. It looked terrible. And look, you've got, you know, desperate people that were actually able to return, and it is still dangerous to return because there's still a lot of smoke. There's still a lot of, you know, like buildings that are smoldering, creating more smoke, especially when you have low-lying areas. It makes it very difficult to breathe. And it also makes it very difficult to go and put out some of those smoldering buildings and things like that. So a very dangerous, very dangerous situation. And of course, you do end up having people that had to leave, that are trying to come back, and they're trying to find something that's left of their house, and there's nothing left. I mean, most of the people that have been affected have literally lost everything. So my heart goes out for that, for them. And so, look, on the politics front, like I said, I'm not doing this to make a political point or anything like that. The response from President Trump he hasn't really made much of a response. President Pence, or Vice President Pence, I should say, that's a weird Freudian slip, came out and actually did say, hey, we're doing our best. There's a state of emergency, and they're getting all the help that they can, and that's fine. Look, besides all that, there's not a whole lot that can be done for this. Again, you've got those winds, you got the dry conditions. All of that makes it incredibly difficult to fight the fires. But I'm pretty sure that the people on the ground they're doing their best. They're doing their best. So it's going to take a lot of time, and it's not over yet. You know, it's going to take a lot of time to rebuild this stuff, and you can't really rebuild the lives that have been destroyed by this. Again, you know, people have been killed, 17 people. But all we can do is just hope that that these fires don't go back to any more populated areas and destroy any more homes or businesses, and, you know, don't kill any more people, and that as many people as can remain safe from these fires. So, and that eventually the firefighters and stuff can get a handle on it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.